Thank you, Amelia. Hi, everyone. Some of you may have seen online that we've been having a bit of a discussion about an emergency 2.0 wiki. So I'm just here to talk to you about that concept. For those of you who I haven't met, I work in the ICT department at Ipswich City Council, but unfortunately I'm not a tech guru. I'm in the change management space, but I do have a background in media relations and issues management, online marketing and community engagement, and I've been in the private sector and also worked for not-for-profits. So another thing is that I'm also a Cyclone Tracy survivor. So my family lost everything and we got evacuated from Darwin to Brisbane, and we lived in a migrant centre for a couple of months. So I guess that unforgettable experience is another driver for my passion for this project. So the idea of this wiki was born over a year ago when I was project managing Council's Twitter pilot, and that included writing guidelines for using Twitter in emergencies. So I diligently scoured the web, as you do, and couldn't find any guidelines, of course. Lots of reports and case studies, but nothing. And as we've talked about tonight, how you utilise social media in an emergency is a lot different to BAU, and it also does carry greater risks. So when our Gov2 Queensland group met last month to talk about the floods and what we could do in planning this workshop, a burning question was how we then leverage these learnings of everyone in this room and the fabulous panel. How do we best capture that and just really encourage integration of social media into mainstream emergency communications, not just by the emergency sector but also by communities. And we explored the concept of creating an emergency 2 wiki. So just as people automatically turn to Wikipedia for information, they could turn to a wiki for emergency information. And for that sort of current best practice advice and guidelines on how to use social media in all aspects of an emergency, so how to prepare and what to do, all the things that we've talked about tonight, captured in one spot. And another thing we talked about was that importance of having vital real-time links that we can add during emergencies so that everyone knows to go to FloodAid, everyone knows to go to Queensland.org. We can send them in that direction as well as to QPS and tell them the hashtags they need to follow and so on. So anyway, so what will this wiki look like? Well, without a presentation, but anyway, picture if you will, guidelines of course for all the phases. Now these guidelines would include templates and checklists and tools, and we'd obviously leverage off our official guidelines that Philip was talking about that were recently launched, and we'd have links to those sites because we're not really here to reinvent the wheel, and also links to Emergency Management Queensland and Emergency Management Australia sites. Picture also, if you will, a resource section, and that's all about sharing those Emergency 2.0 resources. So, for example, there is a fantastic video on YouTube, I watched it because I was watching rising floodwaters, on how to sandbag your home and your business, and that's courtesy of Brisbane City Council and SES, and it's on YouTube. And imagine if everyone in Australia could access, new to go there, so to watch that fantastic video. And also what we're thinking about with this wiki is up-to-date news of latest developments, and that's really important because technology is moving so quickly, and we really need to be across and sort of having a forum discussion on, all right, well this is a great tool, how do we use it in an emergency? So, and we're also looking to establish a really dynamic site to just encourage that collaboration. And so we'd have a Twitter feed and a blog and an RSS feed and forum and so on. So who's going to use it? Emergency and government agencies, community centres, schools, non-profits, business, the media and the public. And where? Well, we were thinking obviously that spotlights has been on us and in terms of the world practice. efforts that have been displayed here in Queensland, and so we're looking at initially having it driven from Queensland, establishing the working group and the strategy and the framework and everything to get it off the ground, but then going wider and seeking that national representation, because we need to establish a steering group for governance and to ensure that the content that's getting put together really does fit with emergency management frameworks and methodologies. So that's something that's really important for credibility as well. And then we'll also be looking at establishing global alliances with groups like FEMA and the International Association of Emergency Managers and Crisis Commons, and as has been said, I mean, people from all around the world, just about every country, got involved to help with the tech solution and set up these strategies to help us get through the floods. So that was important. Why a wiki? Well, I think we all understand that it's all about accessibility, and it really is a given. But the other thing is, it really will enable that comprehensive view. Like we know how to handle, what to do in terms of using social media in floods and cyclones, but bushfires are a whole other kettle of fish. There's a lot less warning often. Now, the other thing, so the wiki, it's really about crowdsourcing ideas and currency. So how a wiki? Well, obviously it needs to be done in phases, and we're looking at establishing a working party to get the concept and the design off the ground and just build a strategy and framework, and that it involve a content guideline framework and governance, technology platform, and also a community engagement and marketing strategy. And then we'd be looking to establish that wider steering group that we were talking about. But the view is to go live in time for our next flood, storm, cyclone, bushfire season. So how can you get involved? Well, as we said, we need to establish a working group. So if you've got the skills and contacts and and the motivation to really help get this wiki up and running, come and see me. It'd be ideal to have a cross-sector representation from government and community and also the private sector. Also, if you want to contribute to the wiki, once we get things rolling, you can help write sections, or you can edit them, or you can comment, because there'll be discussions going on around the suggested content. And on the promotion side, we're going to need you all to help promote the wiki to your networks, and also some of you might want to moderate the forum or the blog or whatever that we get going. And if you're a tech guru, and it's not me, we need your help to help create the platform. So if you want to get involved, come and have a chat to me afterwards in the networking session, but we'll be posting information on the discussion page that we've got going on our LinkedIn group. And that's it. Thank you.
As you can see, Eileen is seriously passionate about this stuff, and she has a lot to contribute to the discussion. She's probably the most researched person I know in emergency response online. And I really think this Gov2 community, while it's such a huge area, Gov2, and there's so many topics for us to discuss, and given the size of us now, I think this is just one way we can have a discussion both online and at our convenience from home, and even use some of the tools and experiment with the use of these tools and learn from that and from each other by using them. So we've got a real driver here, so if any of you are willing to contribute to that discussion, either as part of a steering committee or online, I really encourage that. And we'll also be having a broader level our Gov2 events regularly anyway, and our online discussion as well.